Welcome back to the Why So Series podcast. Brandon, Mike, and Devin are back to talk another week of nerd stuff and entertainment. Coming off of San Diego Comic-Con, a lot of stuff came out. So we figured we needed to get a special guest on today to talk about all the happenings in entertainment and news. So this week we have on Rich Fann from the PWTorch Deep Dive. He does a lot of shit over there. The Deep Dive, East Coast Cast VIP show. He's always on with Wade. He's like a big superstar now. So, Rich, why don't you tell everybody about yourself and about your show? I mean, you've been on before, but again.
Oh, yeah, Brandon. Thank you. Thank you guys for having me on again. So I do a lot of stuff with the Torch. I kind of started as a listener and then kind of mutated into more. So I do the Deep Dive every Saturday at 6 Eastern. Basically talk about one topic for an hour, go nuts on it. Last week we talked about theme songs. And so it could be as serious as theme songs to, or as, jovial as theme songs to as serious as, race and wrestling and the impact of privilege and stuff like that. And I'm going to have Ciara Reed on in a few weeks, who's one of the foremost women wrestling authorities. And she's going to talk about, hopefully, the backlash that some dude bros have been throwing out about the Evolution pay-per-view.
So if some of you don't know, or haven't been caught up on wrestling recently. So yesterday, Stephanie McMahon came out in the show, and she basically talked about how the women's division is evolved and stuff, and now they're to a point where they can have their own pay-per-view. So in October, they're going to have an all-women's pay-per-view. So women from the past, like Trish and Lita, the President Stars, and the women at NXT are all going to be on the show, and it's just going to be the women, which is awesome. And then I get on Twitter today, and the first thing I see was Cam. And Cam was, like, talking about something. And I was like, oh, my God, what is he talking about? So I click on it, and it's like, apparently, like, guys are either in some dudes are in, like, one or two camps. They're either like, I don't see why this is such a big deal. It's just another pay-per-view. Or they're complaining about it. And I'm like, this is typical, like, man stuff. It's like just typical man stuff.
But, yeah, it's wild because some people don't see, like, obviously, and Ciara did a really good job on Twitter about this. Obviously, the WWE is not a bastion of all that is good in the world. So it's not like we're giving them credit for doing it. It's that it's happening. Regardless of how long it took, you can still and this is a very Twitter thing. You can both give them a hard time for taking this long and celebrate that women. And again, it's a very dominant thing. When we think about privilege, we might think a lot more about racial privilege than sex privilege. But as guys, we've never had a pay-per-view where it was all not guys.
Right.
It's not something we would pay attention to. It's like, oh, why can't they just be mixed in with the men? Okay, when did we ever see an all-women show where, like, the bathroom break was John Cena versus The Miz or something?
They should actually do that on the show. That would be funny. That would be funny.
The problem would be what guys are – and The Miz would be someone that's, man enough to be confident in his masculinity to be the bathroom break for the women's show.
Or even open. He would open for it, like he would.
Like, if how, like, back in the day, they used to have all the men's matches, then they'd have, like, a bra and panties match. Imagine if they were like, we're going to get back at them, and we're going to have all these series women matches, and then we're going to have, like, a tuxedo match with, like, two geeks on the roster. That would actually be kind of funny.
Rich, before we go on, Rich, where are you on Ruben? Like, I heard you guys go on a deep dive. Like, but
Roman.
Roman. Why fucking see? I don't even like him that much. I can't give his goddamn name right. It's Roman. But like I was talking to Brandon, I just don't like his movesets, and I feel like he's not good enough to be a face because his mic skills aren't that good. But like, you can get behind a dude that looks like he's a good looking dude. You can get behind that, But other than that, like, I don't see the big deal about Roman.
He needs to lean into what he did on Monday, where he was like, either
good.
You root for me, cheer me, whatever. Y'all gonna have to shut up because I'm still coming. You know what I mean? That stuff. Or even I appreciated when he needs to do more of what he did also on the WWE Network, not network, their webpage, where he did an after show interview where he was celebrating the fact that he's going to be taking on Brock. And then he's like, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to go hang out with the BT.
Oh, that's good. I didn't see that.
Yeah, because he's funny. Like, he's more funny being that Roman than he is having a gripe with management and wanting Brock Lesnar every 5 weeks,
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, for me, I'm of the mindset because when Brandon was on, we talked about it. The big thing that stood out to me was Kenny Omega will spam a V trigger. The difference is Kenny will also pull out like Kreutz Wrath or Dr. Wily Bomb, but he leans into it. That's the thing. All of these people get to lean into themselves, and Roman, we don't know who Roman Reigns is.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Kenny Omega is one of the best wrestlers in the world, and he's given himself video game 8-bit finisher names.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did.
He is a full-on goof. He is an absolute goof. Like, he does his interviews in New Japan, and he's like, it's a ray gun tonight. And we don't know what Roman is because they just give us this construct of what they want him to be. He's not The Rock. He's not Cena. He's not Hogan. Let Roman, if Roman's going to be a cocky dude that's telling you as good as he is and he's going to back it up, I'm fine with that.
And every once in a while you see it. Like the night after WrestleMania, he really didn't say anything, and it was so good after he beat The Undertaker. Yes. And he's just sitting there like with those faces, just where everybody's just booing the shit out of him. And it was so good. And I was like, that's the guy, that confident, arrogant guy. I want to see that guy. Because, like, if you think about it, The Rock was arrogant as fuck. Like, he was not humble baby face.
I mean, like,
I listened to
Rocky Balboa, he was arrogant. Like, he's never not been, I'm the best motherfucker here.
I listened to the Brian and Vinny show, and they're going back and watching all the Raws and SmackDown. So I'm kind of watching it with them. And so we're in 1999 now when The Rock is, like, almost at his peak. Like, 2000 was really The Rock's peak to me. But he's like almost there. He's like ratcheting up there. Like in 2 weeks is when Jericho shows up, and he's just such an asshole to everyone every week, and he still gets cheered like crazy. So like you can still have that arrogant character and be. If they wanted him to be a babyface, they could let him be Roman and still be a babyface. But we talked about a lot of that. Check out the PWTorch Deep Dive. I was on there with Rich. We went into that for about an hour. On all the different aspects.
It was great. I enjoyed it. I broke up because I got in the car and I lost internet connection, but because I was actually in the room when you guys started. But yeah, it was a really good show. I enjoyed it.
So
Brandon, I haven't mentioned this to you yet, but one of my buddies who has been a very he's a behind the scenes guy for me. He is absolutely in. I'm gonna do like a Frost Nixon style debate on Roman with you and him as the point counterpoint. Because he was like, I was listening in my car screaming, no, what about this? What about this? You letting him off the hook. But then he's like, all right, he's got some points there. I was like, yeah, he's like, you got to have me on with Brandon because I got to debate with this man.
I'd love it. I love that. So we start off every show before we get into the news asking, what'd you do nerdy the last week? So, Rich, did you do anything nerdy? Any comic books, any TV shows you watch, anything nerdy you do in the past week?
Yeah, I guess I'd do something that was like triple nerdy. I went to my comic shop and I bought the trade paperback for Here There Be Gerblins, which is the trade paperback of the guys who do My Brother, and Me, and how they took their dad and did they made their own version of Dungeons and Dragons and then lived it out over the course of a podcast and turned those podcast stories into a comic book. So really? I've been reading that. So it's awesome. It keeps selling out at my shop here in Pittsburgh. So I was very happy I got it when I did. And I read the first chapter of it. And then this is even maybe quintuple nerdy. I then I've been listening as I drive to practice and back the first chapter of the podcast. And it's really funny to hear them. Like you have one person out of the brothers because there's four. My brother. There's three brothers, the dad and a best friend that's the game master. So the dad knows nothing. All he keeps doing is reverting back to stories about Vietnam with his dwarf he made. The one brother picked a mage, and then the other brother picked a warrior, but gave him like all plus 20 because he's like, yeah, he just maxed out his stats. I don't know what to tell you. And he's hearing him, like listening and reading the comic book was one thing, and then seeing the adventures play out in real time because you have like little like. The dad can't pronounce goblins, so he calls them gerblins. So they put that into the book. And so you have the goblins talking, and they're like talking like regular people. Like, why'd you kill Steve? I can't believe you killed Steve. And it's like, roll 5 to make sure he doesn't kill me for killing Steve. And so.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I see what's going on now.
So it's like.
Everything. No, that shit is everything. Yeah.
I'm looking it up. It's like wild. Sold out everywhere.
Rich, where do you go buy your stuff in Pittsburgh? Do you go to Phantom?
I go to Phantom of the Attic.
Yeah, I love Phantom of the Attic. That's
I've been going there
for
15 years.
Yeah, I was born in Pittsburgh, but I'm in Maryland right now. But
what part of Pittsburgh did you live?
I lived in the South Hills. I went to school in Oakland, in high school, in the Oakland area. But I always would go to Phantom of the Attic on Craig Street, like before or after school, and I would just sit there and read books all the time. Because Phantom.
Yeah, were you there before they switched or after they switched?
So
they were on one side of Craig, and then they swapped and put Phantom of the Attic's games on that side, and then the comic shop.
Oh yeah, no, the comic shop is now above that CMU art store, and which was cool too, because I used to like to do a little bit of art, so I would go buy like some pencils and stuff, and then I'd go upstairs and buy some books. But Phantom of the Attic's great. They've always treated me very well. They're very friendly people there.
Yeah, it's not the usual shop where people like get hold. Like I went to the shop downtown, and I went there once, never again. It was something straight out of a Simpsons cartoon. It was like, I can't believe these people are going out to run. And I'm like, man, they're going out for. I'm literally going from this shop to go to the half marathon to get my supplies. It's like, you guys and your physical fitness, what losers?
Yeah, I know,
like,
there are a lot of them.
Why can't you do both?
Phantom's great though. They're so. I mean, I don't know. I've always, and they have. I like how they have older. They have like older books too. So like all the stores down in Maryland, DC, they really only have recent stuff. They don't really have any of the old stuff. But I can go there and look for hours at like older stuff from like early 2000s and the 90s, even sometimes the 80s. But you know. Oh
yeah, they're great, and they even have now like, I know they did it before probably when you were there, but they've expanded the reading list. So every staff member has a section. It's kind of like how a video store used to do back in the day, where you would have like 4 or 5 trade paperbacks or series that each staff member would recommend to someone. So it's not just like I'm trying to sell the new thing. Here's something I love that I think you like. Sex Criminals. That's something I never in a million years would have read. But then I got Travis into it because they were like, hey, boom.
And that's great because, like, I feel like a lot of people, especially me when I first started, and even still me to an extent, you go there for DC, you go there for Marvel, and you go there for the superheroes, and there's a bunch of other stuff that they tell you about, and you can have these conversations with them about it, so it helps get you new material in your hands. So I got nothing but good things to say about that. Yeah, that's why I trusted him.
As soon as I saw the Instagram post about the book, I called Wayne, the guy who's like the manager, and I was like, can you hold one for me? And he's like, sure. And I went, got it, watched it. Started reading it, and I'm taking my time with it. Usually I'm a pretty good speed reader, but I'm taking my time with it because it's so funny. I don't want to miss anything because I'm just trying to finish it. I want to get to, like, understand why these guys chose to do the game, why these guys picked this story, because it's a mixture of, like, Dungeons and Dragons and then this freeware version of a Hunger Games RPG.
Yeah, I mean I've seen that book in stores actually. I've never picked it up, so maybe I'll give it a shot.
That's super nerdy, but
what are you talking about?
It was quadruple nerdy. That shit, we went down a real nerd hole. That was a deep dive nerd style.
That was a nerd deep dive. I'm sorry, y'all.
No, that's fine. That's what we're here for. I feel
like. Devin, what about you?
I watch my weekly anime.
What'd you watch this
Hero
week?
Hero Academia. Tokyo Ghoul is back, and I forgot about it. Like, so they're like 12 weeks into this season. Psyche on Netflix. It's had season 2 in subtitles. Watching God Eaters on Hulu. And then I did start Batman on Amazon Prime.
Oh, you started it?
Yeah, I started it.
I haven't started yet.
And then I also started watching Luke Cage, and it's good so far. Definitely worth watching. If you guys haven't watched Luke Cage yet, definitely watch season 1 and 2. It's good.
I'll get to it.
And then, yeah, man, meditating and doing nerdy shit. I mean, I'm trying to decide what comic book character I want to put for my comic book person of the month, either Spider-Gwen or Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur. So reading those, and then that's it pretty much.
Both good options. Mike, what about you?
I also started Batman the Animated Series. I watched like 2 episodes last night before bed. I actually haven't seen that all the way through. So I've seen like clips online, but I've never actually watched.
Yeah, you're super young. You weren't even. I don't even think you were like.
He wasn't born.
Aware.
Well, I wasn't born when it first. I think when I was growing up, the Justice League had made its way onto TV and it was airing live,
wow.
like the Justice League. But that's after, and then that's all. And I watched the Justice League. I actually watched that show fairly recently, within the last couple of years, and I liked it a lot.
Oh, Justice League Unlimited? That's just dope.
There's two. There's Justice League and then Justice League Unlimited. And Unlimited, they brought in all the other characters, but the first 2 seasons of Justice League are just the 7. And so that was good. So I've never actually I've seen clips of the animated series, but I've never seen it all the way through. So this is going to be good for me too. Because it's not like I have to rewatch it, which can get kind of boring if you're rewatching a show that has as many episodes as Batman the Animated Series.
Oh, you being the biggest Batman fan in the world, you're going to fucking love this shit.
Oh, I'm not worried.
You're going to love this shit. All right, so I have been doing a lot of reading. So I've read Superman #1. I'm not even into Superman, but I love Brian Michael Bendis. So I got Superman #1 and read that. I'm in. It's good. I read Amazing Spider-Man #1 with who's my guy? Nick Spencer is writing it. So I'm a big Nick Spencer fan. A lot of people that I associate with are big Nick Spencer fans. So that's definitely a must read. I've been keep reading The Flash War. I've been reading Domino by Gail Simone. Rich and Travis just talked about that this week.
Yes, sir.
I love that book. I love Gail Simone. She follows me on Twitter. I felt so happy. But yeah, she's dope. That's a really good book too. Is it a miniseries or is it a full run? Do you know, Rich?
Rich, you're breaking up.
Because looking at the, I'm driving through the mountains. Can you guys hear me?
All right, you're good now.
All right.
Okay. Yeah, it gets weird. I apologize. From what they were saying, it's a work in progress. They're trying to figure out how the numbers are, and so probably by Wednesday, I'm going to try to look at the how the sales are going for it, because it's been a solid 3 or 4 issues, so they should have the monthly pulls already for it from June.
I hope so, because I like the book, and she's writing Plastic Man too.
She's a busy woman.
Yeah, she's busy. But Plastic Man is a miniseries, only a 6-issue miniseries, but that totally fits her writing style. So I haven't whenever there's 6-issue miniseries, I usually let them get all the way up and then just read them. So I haven't started reading it yet, but I have the first 2 issues sitting here. I also started watching The Expanse. Yes, I know I'm late, but
still good.
It's so good. I'm trying to get Devin the mic to watch it. We're like the only nerds.
Today. I'm kind of pumped to watch
we're
it.
like the only nerds who don't watch The Expanse, but that show is so good. I'm halfway through season 2, and listen, Naomi is like the best. It's like she's just like, and Amos is a crazy motherfucker. He's crazy as shit in that show, and the whole premise of the show is really good. I like how it's a sci-fi show, but it's like the most realistic, like. The idea that we could colonize Mars, and then the people of Mars would be like, fuck Earth, we want to be our own country, or basically, well, not country, but be our own planet and shit, and separate any connections to Earth. Like, that is totally plausible. Like, totally plausible that could happen in real life. So I really love how they ground that. But I'm watching that show, and I'm going through. I'm going to finish that before I get to Batman the Animated Series, because we're doing that next month. Yeah, so before we get into the show, just to give people an update. So what we have coming up is on the 8th, to coincide with the return of the first family of Marvel, we're going to do a history of the Fantastic Four. So that'll be out on the 8th, and then on the 22nd of August, we're going to be doing our retro review of season 1 of Batman the Animated Series to go along with our normal weekly shows. So keep an eye out for those things. They'll be coming out soon. But let's get into the news this week. So San Diego Comic-Con was this week. And before we get into some of the articles, we'll start by just talking about everybody's thoughts about the trailers that got released. So we'll start with probably the biggest movie trailer, and that's Aquaman. So we'll go ahead with Rich. What did you think about the Aquaman trailer? And are you more or less excited for the movie now?
I would say more. because it doesn't seem like they're married to the Murderverse. It seems like they're kind of doing a soft reboot with Jason Momoa. I mean, they went with the original outfit, which I know Chris on MTR Network was happy about. I was too. I think Jason Momoa and Roman Reigns can learn a lot from each other.
Yes.
Because it's not just because they're Polynesian bros, but less is more. And I think the more you let Jason Momoa be the cool dude who happens to talk to all the sea creatures, and you don't try to punk him or try to turn it into like Thor underwater, the easier it'll go for him.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
Devin, what'd you think?
Yeah, I'm not here for it, but I mean, the trailer looked good. I mean, I'm just not. Yeah, I'm not. I don't fuck with DC like that. I'm not. I'm off the bandwagon. So hopefully, you guys can tell me about it, and I'll go see it then. But I'm not. But yeah, that Mirror chick, she looks good.
Amber Heard. Yes.
Yes, she does.
So, a lot of people have disowned DC because they've been letting us down so much, with the exception of Wonder Woman. But the presentations that they had at the Hall H this year seem to be in a totally different light than what they've been doing in the past. It's like somebody finally got the idea that you probably shouldn't be doing injustice on film. Like, we shouldn't have the Injustice universe. That's probably not a good idea. And we need to lighten this shit up. I mean, we can still have serious stuff, but we can literally lighten it up, like actual colors in the film, but also like lighten it up tone-wise. So that is a good thing.
That reminds me, I meant to say this when we were talking about the nerdy stuff we did this weekend. I wanted to tell you, I usually see superhero movies at least 2 times, usually 3. Like Infinity War, I saw 5 times, I think. Justice League, when it came out, I saw it once, and I didn't go back and see it a second time. That was the first comic book movie I did not go back and see. I went to New York City this weekend, and I was bored on the Megabus, and I noticed it was like $3 to purchase it in HD on Amazon. So they must not be doing very well. So I was like, all right, you know what? I'll buy it, and I'll watch it again. And I'm going to be very critical, and I'm going to really try and find all the good stuff about it. And it was terrible. It's so bad. That red. Well, you made me, when Brandon said literally lightened up, it made me think of that unnecessary, confusing red filter they had at the end of the movie. But I will say, after watching both Aquaman and Shazam trailers and reading the stuff about the Wonder Woman panel, I'm pretty excited. I think this could be it. I'm hoping this. If this isn't it, though, I think I'm gonna have to give up. Because after this, what do we have to look forward to?
I mean, I'll be back for Wonder Woman 2, no matter what, because I kind of know that's gonna be good.
Yeah,
but
what about those?
If Aquaman and Shazam aren't good, I'm out. But I don't think that's gonna be the case, because we're gonna get into it a little bit more why I think things are changing. But I don't think that's gonna be the case. But Mike brought up Shazam. Rich, what you think about that?
I love that trailer. That was hilarious. It hit the right notes. And the best thing they did was not overpower Shazam by showing Black Adam. Mm-hmm. Because just like we were talking with wrestling, if you show The Rock, no one's going to pay attention to Shazam.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when it first came out, people were like, how are you going to have a Shazam movie without Black Adam? When's The Rock going to be in the movie? And I'm like, that's kind of a good idea, so that he can get his own shine and people can care about the Shazam character, because I mean, The Rock's movies are hit and miss, if we're being honest, but The Rock personality kind of jumps off the screen. And so if Dwayne Johnson is a focal point in his first film, he's going to overshadow Shazam. I mean,
we ain't worried about it. Because who the fuck is the dude playing Black Guy? I mean, Shazam. I don't even know.
That's my dude from the Save War. Exactly. Yeah.
Yes.
Who? Say one more time.
Zachary Levi.
Who is he? What does he do?
He was Chuck on NBC.
Oh yeah,
the guy.
That's what I thought it was. I was about to say he has his own show on NBC, but he would definitely get outshined by The Rock on camera. So, but yeah, I love the Shazam character just because the way they're filming it, they're giving it a childlike perspective of what a little kid would do with superheroes. So I'm here for the Shazam trailer, definitely. Look different.
I loved it. I think it's gonna be, if they do it right, it should be DC's Ant-Man if they do it right. And I think that's kind of the tone they're going with it. And it was just a teaser trailer, so we'll probably get the first trailer, the first
Who's
like
the
full
villain?
trailer. So the villain is the professor. So his name is what the hell is his name? He's a big Shazam character. He's like this evil. It's basically because Shazam. So you gotta remember, Shazam is not an original DC character. Shazam is
Really?
originally
Yeah, he was published by.
he was published
what
by
was that?
Fawcett Comics, and he was supposed to be
Fawcett.
like a alternative to Superman, and he was really, really popular. And he ended up getting picked up. But they got sued for copyright infringement. DC did. DC sued them for copyright infringement, saying he was a copy of Superman, and so he ended up getting switched over to DC way, way, way down the road. And then they changed his name because at that point Marvel was a big thing, and then they wanted him to be Shazam because originally he was Captain Marvel. But his comic book villain is, I forget the guy's name, but he's basically like this evil scientist because Dr. Savannah, that's his name. Yeah, Dr. Savannah. He's like this evil, bald-headed, like scientist with the big, like Coke bottle glasses. It's very typical to like the 40s, but that's what they're doing in the movie. But they show him in the movie at one point too. In the trailer at one point. So that's
Yeah, he catches his fist. I just didn't know who it was because
Yeah.
I didn't recognize him as someone.
so.
Big.
Let's. You know what? I'm in a good mood today. Let's stay with the good of DC. Did you guys see that Flash trailer?
Yes.
Yes.
So did you guys see the ring?
Yes.
Yes.
It's like all everyone's talking about.
Yes, because it's about damn time they put the suit in the ring. Like anytime DC can embrace that comic book stuff, I'm all the way here for it. Rich, what'd you think about the season 5 teaser for the
I
Flash?
didn't see it,
Oh, you didn't see it?
unfortunately.
No,
Yeah,
you're not missing a lot. You're not missing a lot. I'm
It's
out
really
of the show.
just the ring. Everything else is predictable from if you watch.
Who is the villain? Is it Zoom again?
No,
No.
it's what's his name? He's the cult. He's like a cultist.
Is he a speedster? I feel like he's just
No,
he's not
he's
a
like
speedster.
what's his name, Brandon? I forget his name. He's like a
Cicada.
cicada. Yeah, he like runs a cult of, I guess, speed worship.
all of the people that in the comic I know them, but I don't know if they're doing the same thing in TV because that's pretty dark. He ran a cult that tracked down all of the people that Flash and Speedster saved, and they murdered them,
Oh wow.
and they tried
That's
to
awesome.
sacrifice him to him because the belief was he got powers via lightning just like Flash did. So he thought if he sacrifices all of the Flash's victims, quote unquote future victims, he would get the power, and he's kind of like Zaz on crack.
Okay.
Yes. Here's the thing. I last year thought the Thinker would be a good villain, and if we're being honest, the Thinker at times was a really good villain. Like at times he was
Good.
really good, but the writing was very lackluster in parts of the season last year, and it really just made
I
you
tapped out.
take
I
away
didn't
from
finish
it.
the
And then again, the finale wasn't very good. So,
I think they need to shorten the amount of episodes for.
Oh
Flash,
yeah, absolutely.
Because it's too much, and if it was a little bit shorter, I might have been more interested in it. But I hated the last season. I didn't like the season before that either, and I'm hoping it changes here. But I'm not gonna lie, just putting the suit in the ring and giving it to him, while it's fantastic, is not enough to win me over for the whole season. So I hope it's better. Arrow looked better than. I mean, Arrow was decent last season. It wasn't as good as 5, but it was. It
The
looked
best
entertaining.
season I haven't watched Legends yet, but that
Neither
Supergirl
have I.
Supergirl was really good.
I
Like,
keep seeing this thing
I
on
will-
Legends about something called Bebo, and I don't know what it is.
Oh God, Bebo's the best.
I keep seeing all these
Bebo
funny
is
things
the
about
best.
him. What is he?
Okay,
What is
so it was their version of. They went back in time and they found that was their version of the Furby,
it? Ah,
and it kept coming up because as they had tears in time, that like someone bought it because it was Doc. Doc. What's his name? One half of Firestorm. Doc.
Stein.
yeah, Stein.
Stein got it for his daughter because that was the one thing he never got her for Christmas. They left it when they went back into meeting with these Norse folk who had crossed the Northwest Passage. And so Bebo became their god.
Oh, that's hilarious.
And then later on, when they had to face, there was this demon entity that they had to fight toward the end of the season. They picked their avatar to fight the demon in the spirit realm, and it was Bebo.
That's awesome.
So I heard Legends was good last season. Is that true, Rich?
It was wild. It was wild. I mean, they went back in time and had to keep Barack Obama from dropping out of school and becoming president.
That's
so good. Oh, I'm gonna watch that.
It was so good because you have Black Canary. Is she white? I can't remember.
Yeah, White Canary.
White Canary is like run, Barry, run. And I was like, wow, that's a lot. This is a lot.
I kind of want to watch it now. I
gotta watch that.
I wasn't excited for that at all. I was like, I have to actually watch.
Oh
this.
yeah, Legends. All last season, the tongue was fully in cheek. Like every other episode, White Canary had a booty call through time.
Nice.
I feel like they finally realized what Legends was about.
Is it supposed to be fun?
Well, Legends was good the season before that. It was only bad season 1 because of the Hawks.
Oh, the Hawks were terrible. They were
the Hawks are booty.
But season 2 was really good. The last DC trailer was Young Justice, Outsiders.
No,
you forgot one.
What?
Forgot.
Oh, no. I didn't forget. I'm talking about the last good trailer. Talking about good. Right. I said I'm going to be nice. Well, so what do you guys think of Young Justice? I know you're excited. Devin and Mike are.
Being excited is, I'm not going to say I'm excited, but I'm happy to get some closure. And it looked really good. It was compelling. And we got more adult storytelling with this story. And I think it's going to play out very good. And then we saw a lot of great characters. We saw Ra's al Ghul. We saw Darkseid. We saw what's his name? What's his name? Vash Savage.
Vandal Savage. Yes.
Be amazing. And Vandal Savage was amazing by himself, and the last Young Justice, last season Young Justice. So just having him with Darkseid is going to be amazing. I'm great for the pairing. The little switch up with Artemis was great, and just love to see where it goes.
I think we all know what's going to happen with Wally.
Oh, do we know? I don't know.
He didn't die. I think he was taken.
No, he didn't die. Yeah.
So I think he's going to come back. So that'd be cool to see.
Rich, are you a Young Justice fan?
Okay. Yeah, this is going to take me a minute because when we get to that other trailer, that gives me so much anger. I took my son and my wife on Saturday to see a sneak preview of Teen Titans Go to the Movies.
Yes!
And it was magnificent because I don't want to ruin it, but they get everything you love about comics, and they've done that for years. And my biggest regret was not trusting the animation studio when they switched from Young Justice to Teen Titans, because I was pissed when it first happened. I was like, this is a joke.
Wait,
the more you watch
Teen Titans to Young Justice?
Teen Titans Go. Yeah, no. We start focusing on Teen Titans Go.
So Young Justice got canceled for the sake of Teen Titans. And then people were like, like myself, they're not doing it. And it was so much continuity to the comics and the little in-jokes they had. Like they keep
Thursday.
calling... They kept calling am I good now?
Yeah, you're good.
Slade.
They call him Slade because they don't want to call him
because they can't.
Deathstroke.
Deadpool.
Yeah. Deathstroke because it's kids. They don't want to call him Deathstroke because it's kids, so everyone's like Slade.
they never called him that in the original either.
It's so. I mean, Deathstroke the Terminator would have been too much for them.
I heard that was because they couldn't use the name. Along with Batman, and they were not in the original Teen. And I don't know if this is the case with Teen Titans Go, because I'm sure a lot of the rights changed. But the original one, I read this article that they were not allowed to use the name Deathstroke or Batman or a lot of the.
Oh no! Batman's all over Teen Titans Go.
He is now. But I'm saying when it started, the reason.
No, go ahead, Rich.
Oh no! I was just gonna say he's right. But these guys, by the time they got this movie, they got all the rights. They were making Deadpool jokes. Stan Lee showed up like 8 times. I was like, y'all really got Stan Lee to show up in your movie. Like, they did not give any Fs. And then at the end, they tied it into this trailer because they did the comic book stinger, and they cut to like grainy. Well, first of all, if you're a parent, be prepared for the end of Teen Titans Go to the movies, because I'm not ruining the movie, but whatever happens, they're like, hey, I want to give them a lesson about things you can learn. The kids are watching. And they're like, everyone starts chanting, like everyone in the entire movie is like, credits, credits, credits. And Robin is like, no, I have something to tell him. And he jumps on the screen. And he's like, kids, ask your parents where babies come from. And then it cuts the credits.
Oh, that's so good. Oh, I can't wait.
And then they have the credits roll, and they cut to grainy footage, and it's the Young Justice version of them. And it's like, guys, I think we found a way back. And then it goes to black.
Oh, I can't wait to watch this Thursday.
So my head exploded when I saw this trailer because I'm so happy. And then I saw the Titans trailer, and I wanted to murder every DC executive.
Unnamed trailer.
All right, so we might as well.
Untitled.
DC had their shine. Overall, they did good, but they kicked it off shitty because they dropped it. So everybody knows the DC Universe streaming service is coming out. And one, they already fucked up by not doing a full unlimited, which I'm still upset about. But maybe they'll get there. Maybe they will.
I'm pretty sure they are. It says they're advertising reading all over it.
Yeah, but they've said they're only doing collections. So they're going to do certain collections of books and put them on there at the time. They're not doing their whole backlog.
They're trying to tie them to like the entertainment property. So like if you're watching Teen Titans, here are the Teen Titans books you should read, or Young Justice. Right. I'm sorry. Yeah, no, the Titans book. Or if you're watching Wonder Woman movie, here are the definitive stories you should read. But they're not going to give you everything right away.
God, why do they do that?
Because they don't like to win.
They don't like to win. And
I would buy that immediately.
Then they dropped the first footage for supposedly their flagship show on the DC Universe streaming service, Titans, which a lot of people were excited about to see the Titans in live action. And then, as soon as the trailer comes on, I see TVMA, and I go, "Oh my God, they didn't do this! They didn't do this." Why does this need? I said before I saw a single clip of the show, I said, Teen Titans does not need to be TVMA. What is this? And then you get the show, and I'm like, okay, this looks dark. And you see Robin, and you see the Flying Graysons, and and then there's Raven, and she's dark, and then they show Robin, and somebody says something about Batman, and then Robin goes, "Fuck Batman," and I said, what is this? At that point, I was like, what am I watching? And then, Rich, we kind of got an idea of how you feel about the Titans trailer, but why don't you give us a little bit more about how you feel about the Titans trailer?
Well, I mean, you also left out the fact that when he stepped on the dude's neck, they made sure there was no ambiguity. You got the loudest cracking noise. Yeah. And he shot like 5 people. Like, okay, so you took Jason Todd, put him in Dick Grayson's story, and then gave him Tim's suit. And
yeah, that was a mess.
Don't know who thought this was a good idea. And then the Batman line, I was basically, after Ron Burgundy said F San Diego, I was like, what do you do with your poopy mouth? What? Not my Titans. Like, I lost it because I was like, why is Robin, like the dude who turned him into the coolest ninja in the world, and somehow he's a billionaire, so I don't think he made that on his own in Blue Haven as a cop. So I'm assuming Bruce must have left him some money. Like, it is the very worst of the WB and CW shows with an R rating.
Yeah. First of all, Jason Todd never shot anybody when he was Robin. Like,
no, Red Hood for life, man.
He didn't start shooting people until he was Red Hood. So even if you want to tell me, well, we want to take some inspiration from the Jason Todd character.
Didn't they say that Red Hood is coming alongside? Red Hood, Jason Todd. No, they made an announcement, didn't they? So Jason Todd and someone else, Donna Troy, are coming to Titans.
Hold on. They're gonna try to do Donna Troy
and Jason Todd, both.
Oh boy.
That was the article I read almost immediately after the trailer dropped by a DC account. They were like, "Get ready, read up. Donna Troy and Jason are coming." And I'm like, what?
First look at Karen.
So,
Karen
question.
Walters is playing Jason Todd. Yeah.
Here's my question before my nose starts bleeding while I'm driving. If you have Jason Todd and Dick Grayson is Robin, why is he not
Nightwing?
See, now I'm bleeding. My nose is bleeding.
What did he do?
I just want to know what, like, I guess I don't know what I want to know because I don't really know what to do with that. Like, it's a little too soon for that, and the show.
I was out. I'm out.
So the story looks like it's going to be focused heavily on Dick and Raven.
Which makes that's something. Raven, I thought that was terrible.
And Raven's an interesting character, but they show Starfire and she's just like there. She's just there.
She's a black girl though. Yeah,
she's not leading.
Yeah, I'm cool with that, but she's just there. And they show Beast Boy, who's just there.
Yeah, I want to see how they do his powers because someone was saying that he looks like. I mean, obviously it's just a trailer, but they were saying he looks like they're doing like a Beast from X-Men type thing.
Yes,
they are like that. Yes,
I don't want them to do that. The other thing, I'm cool. Like, obviously, there's a lot of the people who don't like Starfire for I mean, I don't care about that. I wish she was shot green fire. I don't know why. Is it red in the comics? It's green, right?
No, I think it is red. I think it's like pink.
Red.
Is it red? Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't really care.
Pink.
But I do like that they didn't put her in that sexist ass suit. So at least in the trailer. At least in the trailer, she's dressed reasonable.
No, she will be, I think. I mean, why? They'd be pretty dumb to do that.
I did not know they were going to do Donna Troy. Do you know how complicated the character of Donna Troy is? She's
like all kinds of messed up. If you read Rebirth in Titans Rebirth, which is one of my favorite Rebirth books, they go into it. It's like there's a lot. She's pretty broken.
Yeah. So here's the thing.
People don't know who the fuck is Donna Troy. Who the fuck is that?
Donna Troy. Okay. See, that's the question.
Yeah, that's complicated. Yeah. Okay, there's a few answers there.
So originally, she is Wonder Girl.
Okay.
But
sometimes
I know. Okay, I know.
She is like a outcast Amazonian.
Sometimes she's an Amazonian clone. Sometimes she's the daughter of Wonder Woman. Sometimes she's nothing to do with Wonder Woman. Sometimes,
read Titans. It's fantastic.
The Titans book is good, but yeah, Donna Troy. Yeah. All right, let's get through these trailers so we can get to the news and get out. We still got a little time, but all right. So we did The Flash. Did you guys see the Gifted trailer?
Yeah, I'm in.
Yep.
I'm in.
So we on this show love to get. Did you like were you into the Gifted last season, Rich?
I didn't see it just because I ran out of time. I was watching between The Expanse and some other, trying to finish up 12 Monkeys and Lord knows what else. But I want to see it because I heard so many good reviews from people I trust about it.
Oh, The Gift is great. It's great. It is the best X-Men I've ever seen on screen. They really explore,
including the movies.
Well, of course, including the movies. Yeah. They really explore what it's like to be mutant and how shitty humans are, and the powers actually look pretty decent. We got to hate. Me and Devin got to hate on what's homeboy's name, Devin?
Oh man,
God, how did I forget? As much as we talked about him.
Fucking.
Hold up. What? I can't believe
Reed Strucker.
Yes, Reed. We hate Reed Strucker. Even by the end of the season, he was slightly better, but he's still trash. We got to see Agent Cory Booker, Jace Turner. He's in there. Agent Cory Booker's in there. So it is a great show. It looks like they're doing like their version of the Hellfire Club this season, which should be pretty good. Polaris is pregnant.
And they're in DC, so it's definitely going to shake it up.
I'm all the way in. We will be reviewing that again on the show.
That hate got turned up. It just seemed like the hate got turned up.
Are you any of you guys going to go see Godzilla King of Monsters?
Nah,
maybe.
I'm good. I'm good on that.
I'll see it just because I got Movie Pass.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Shout out the Movie Pass.
That's actually a pretty good idea. And then last major trailer that I want to talk about is The Clone Wars. So
I
haven't seen the Clone Wars, so you guys go.
No, you stop talking right now. You stop talking right now because you did not watch the Clone Wars.
Yeah, Brandon, I want to say on record, and I quote before we started, I don't know how I feel about this Clone Wars trailer.
And then said, who's the guy with the beard?
Oh my gosh. Disappointing. All the nerd stuff you claim to love so much, you don't even like the Clone Wars. That's like the beginning of this, you know. Clone Wars, for those of you that I'm sure everyone knows, but the Clone Wars was left hanging when Disney bought. It was like in the middle of production of its final season when the Disney acquisition of Lucasfilms went under, and it stopped midway through, and everyone was annoyed, and it, you know, everyone's been wanting it to come back. And at San Diego Comic-Con, they released a trailer for season. I don't know if it's going to be a new season or if they're just going to finish it, but they made it very clear that they're going to finish the Clone Wars story, which they did. Disney ended up telling that story through books and stuff, but obviously, you know, I'm not going to go read that book. I'd rather watch it. Clone Wars.
Rich, are you into the Clone Wars?
I am very much. I'm looking forward to this. I love the trailer, and I got nothing but positive things to say. I'm fired up.
Rich, what do you think about the hashtag, though? Like,
hashtag was dumb. Hashtag was...
What?
Somebody didn't figure that out. Yeah.
I mean,
we were
whatever.
already excited. We didn't need a hashtag.
Well, I'll let them have it if they want. I'll use it if it means we get the Clone Wars back. I'm excited. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, for me, it would have made more sense like 2 months after Disney acquired them to throw a hashtag like that out. This is a couple of years down the road, and then they're back. Like, if it would have been like Clone Wars back, or if they wanted to get lit, Clone Wars bike.
Yeah. All right.
I'm excited because I don't know, I didn't read the book, but I read what happens in the book that can, you know, so I'm excited because I'm excited to see this happen on film. I don't want to.
And then we get some more Anakin, yo. Anakin is awesome on Clone Wars.
And Obi-Wan, and we get Ahsoka. They showed Rex. Rex is the best clone. Better than Cody. Cody's trash. He turned in episode 3. Brandon didn't even know who Cody was. And he's in the movie.
I'll watch the Clone Wars. You happy? I'll watch it.
Yes, you better watch it. And then Rebels after. And then we're going to do all the good podcasts on it.
Okay. Let's get to the news. All right. DC finally names its movie brand. Did you see this, Mike?
What? No.
So the DC Extended Universe has officially named itself Worlds of DC. The panel began...
I thought they had a name already.
No. This is their name, Worlds of DC. Now...
Here's the thing. They tried to take the power back because everybody called it the Snyderverse or the Murderverse. So now...
But there's a theory... that I've always been in support of, and a lot of the people that I go to for my comic book stuff has been in support of, is that you can have one story that you tell throughout the connected universe and then make it like the comic books where there's a bunch of Elseworld stories going on. So if they say Worlds of DC, does that mean there's like different Earths? Because they're doing 2 different Joker movies. They're doing this Harley Quinn solo film. They're doing this Batman solo film. Do these films have to be connected all together, or can they have some films that connect and then just tell one-off stories, which I think would actually be really good for the DC.
Right.
Because DC has a ton of good stories, tons of good stories, but trying to lump it all together is why you keep getting these crisis events in the comic books that people are probably sick of. Although I will say this: if they do a Crisis on Infinite Earths movie, people are going to be in. I have no faith that it would be good, but some people are going to be into it.
It
just
depends
for the
on
idea
what they did and who they brought in. Because if they do Crisis on Infinite Earths where they merge all their properties across all the different networks and TV shows and movies, I think
they can't handle that. No.
It'd be a huge mess right now, but I think if they had the right people, you know.
No, I don't want them to be merged. I want them to be separate. Let people tell their own stories, because once you start telling me that Arrow and Barry Allen Flash are in the same universe as Ezra Miller's Flash and Ben Affleck, like, no, this is not Marvel. Tell your own stories in the movies and the TV shows, and I think you got something there. What do you think, Rich?
Yeah, I think if you had Ben Affleck and Arrow in the same room, that would just be too much dark. people would be confused, like, which one of you is Batman?
Yeah. When
Well,
did
then
Batman
Batman
start
was
wearing
the
green?
Little brother in the corner.
Yeah, when did Batman start wearing green?
Batman's coming to the CW. You know it.
Oh god, here we go with that.
Right after Batgirl, he's gonna.
Batwoman.
Batwoman. I mean,
They released some new footage at Comic-Con from Venom, and apparently it teases more symbiotes.
I heard. I saw an article just before this show started that said he's going to be the most violent and aggressive Marvel character on screen so far, and he's in the same universe as Deadpool, so that really has to be saying.
No, he's not.
No, but I'm saying that comparison would have to put him up against Deadpool as well. So.
Oh, they're just talking about Marvel properties.
Yeah, like out of all the Marvel properties,
okay.
He's the most violent.
But movie-wise, Deadpool isn't super violent in a movie. I mean, it's funny killing, but it's not.
I mean, he is kind of violent. They just make it
violent.
funny. He
Logan
does,
too. I mean,
he does chop people's heads off. Apparently, at the end of this trailer, they show Venom bit some dude's head off. So there's that. Cool. Are you excited about the Venom film, Rich?
I am not. I'm trying to figure out a world in which Venom gets created without Spider-Man not being involved whatsoever. How does he get his spider powers? Like, and then now you're added in, if you're getting the other symbiotes, you're going to have what? A Cletus Cassidy? How am I working through that? Like, it's just I love me some Tom Hardy mumbling his way through life, but
what is that accent he's doing on this though?
That's Tom Hardy. It's just him.
He's got like a lisp going on or something with it or something. I can't really figure it out.
He's
trying his darndest to hide his accent, but it comes out like, yeah, Lispy McGee over here. And then when he's Venom, it's like they go too far to the we are Venom. Like it's not.
No one's down to have Topher Grace reprise his role.
No, we're good. The actor is not the problem with this. I'll say that.
Yeah, it's just it's like when you said Marvel, I put like 5 asterisks and like an underline because it's like if they could have their way, just like what they're trying to do with Fox, they would try to buy out Sony and just give it back.
Look, the Sony person tried to I remember like a few months ago they tried to hint that this could be connected, and then Kevin Feige was like, "Nah, this don't got nothing to do with us." That's when I was like, "This must not be good," because he don't want no parts of that.
Remember, they opened up all this stuff like they were going to do Silver Sable. There was going to be a movie like Aunt May. I was like,
why would they do that? Why would?
The Aunt May secret agent movie.
Yeah, I was like, Marissa Tomei was about to be a better Black Widow than Black Widow, and I'm not here for her destroying people's souls like that.
All right, I mean, the last in the movie news, I guess we have to talk about this, but James Gunn is fired for offensive tweets that he made from Marvel and Disney. So we'll start with Rich. What are your thoughts on this whole situation? Because it can be complicated.
Yeah, I mean, I was talking with Lexi Alexander online about it because Lexi's awesome and she takes a very sober view. As a white dude that screwed up, I get everyone jumping on him. But my issue has been throughout all of this. He apologized for everything, said it was a scumbag move, left him up as a way to atone and say, I'm not running away from the stupidity I did as a youth. And still it was weaponized against him by people because he was saying Trump's an idiot. That sucks. And then, I saw an article on my phone where Roseanne's like, I don't get the support. When you apologize and you see the wrong in what you did, you can be supported as you move through it, especially when it's years ago.
She apologized after she got in trouble. He apologized.
She didn't even apologize. And
she blamed it on drugs.
And
but I'm saying,
on top of that, James Gunn, from at least in his public record, because none of us know him, but at least in his public record, he has been trying to be a good person. Like, he's been very supportive of the Me Too movement, very outspoken on all the horrible shit that's going on in our country, specifically with Trump and other things, which is what got the Serenovich dude to come after him in the first place, who, by the way, is a horrible person. So it's an interesting thing because I was on the Mocha Minutes podcast and we talked about this, and it's like I can have two views. I can understand that Disney's like, I don't want to associate with this guy, and them, despite who the bad actor is who brought these tweets back out, they are out in the open now, and people are going to associate that with us, and we want to remove ourselves from the situation. I understand that. James Gunn, like somebody who's actually a good person, owned up. He didn't like blame anybody. This is what he said. He said, "Many people who have followed my career know when I started, I viewed myself as a provocateur, making movies and telling jokes that were outrageous and taboo. As I've discussed publicly many times, as I developed as a person, so is my work and my humor. It's not to say I'm better, but I'm very, very different than I was a few years ago. Today, I try to root my work in love and connection and less in anger. My days saying something just because it's shocking and trying to get a reaction are over. In the past, I've apologized for the humor of mine that hurt people. I felt truly sorry and meant every word of my apologies. For the record, when I made these shocking jokes, I wasn't living them out. I know this is a weird statement to make and seems obvious, but still, here I am saying it. Anyway, that's a completely honest truth. I used to make a lot of offensive jokes. I don't anymore. I don't blame my past self for this, but I like myself more and feel like more of a human, more of a full human being a creator today. Love you all."
There's a petition to rehire him that someone started. It's gotten a couple 100,000 signatures already in like 2 days.
Yeah, they're not going to rehire him. And he'll be fine. I mean, Bryan Singer's still making movies, and he's an actual terrible person,
Right.
Terrible.
Yeah, but
And I look at it too, like Brandon, you brought up earlier Nick Spencer. If anybody wants to take the time to look up Nick Spencer, back in the day, he was the far right Fox News politician, jerk, human beings. And he figured it out and became a better person.
Mm-hmm. They tried to dox him too during Secret Empire. They're like,
oh, you really believe this? He's like, no, the whole point of Secret Empire is this is the world I was in, and I realized it's not real.
Right. And so I think Marvel will be fine. Guardians of the Galaxy 3 will be fine. The MCU Cosmic will be fine, especially if they give it to homeboy from Thor Ragnarok, who a lot of people are voice support.
Yeah.
Yep. A lot of people want him to take over the reins of Marvel Cosmic. And Marvel will be okay, and James Gunn will be okay. And here's the thing. One of the things I said on the Mocha Minutes podcast is that when you do stuff in the past and you're trying to be a better person, one of the parts of becoming a better person is understand that everyone's not going to forgive you, and that sometimes those things in the past can come back and haunt you. And those are things that you have to live with when you do those things that you've done in the past. So do I think that James Gunn's a better person for everything that I know? Yes, I do think that. And his response to being fired tells me such, because he didn't come out like Roseanne. He didn't come out like these other people do. Or he wasn't
like
one of
Hogan.
Or like Hogan, yeah. And he wasn't one, or he didn't do the thing where I was an ally for you and this is what you guys do to me, but that type of thing either. So he owned it, he understood it, and he's going to try to move on and keep trying to be a better person. And that's all you can ask for. And so while I understand what Disney did, it still can be a little sad, but it kind of is what it is. Devin, Mike, you got anything else on this?
No, I don't be into that, all the credits and who directed these films, but yeah, I just read it, and I see I get everybody's perspective on it, and sometimes you just got to go, but maybe he can come back as a consultant. I don't know, but I hope this doesn't affect the movies. That's it.
Yeah, I think the MCU will be just fine. Kevin Feige, I trust him. All right, let's get into we'll do TV news last. So we'll get into the comic book news. Green Lantern is going to be relaunched by Grant Morrison. I don't think I know Rich is going to talk about this, but I don't know if Devin or Mike is too familiar with Grant Morrison. But Grant Morrison is a crazy person.
He did Final Crisis.
He is an insane, like weird, crazy person. And that tells me that this Green Lantern thing is going to be so out of this world, literally and figuratively, that I can't wait to see it. Rich, did you hear about Grant Morrison taking over DC, the Green Lantern series, and what do you think about that? Is Rich still here?
I did not hear that.
Oh, there he goes. Okay.
No.
But
sorry, I was ordering dinner and I was trying to.
Oh no,
make
you're
sure
good.
I wasn't rude to you.
But yeah, Grant Morrison is taking over for it. So it says DC Comics are relaunching the Green Lantern comic series this November with acclaimed writer Grant Morrison and artist Liam Sharp taking lead hero Hal Jordan back to his classic roots. Instead of the big, epic 12-part stories, we're focusing down on the everyday life of a space cop. Basically, it's no more apocalypse-ending stories. Morrison told IGN over the phone interview along with Sharp. The basic concept is that Hal Jordan is like a space cop that patrols a sector of the universe where anything can happen. We've made it more like a police procedural. So,
I'm liking it. That's going to be like live PD with superpowers.
Yes, exactly.
And Grant Morrison's crazy enough to have it. Like, the only thing I regret about that announcement is I like when Morrison gets like, just say you have 2 years, go.
Like that Batman run.
Right.
That Batman run is didn't he do Batman and Robin too? Was that him?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he did Batman and Robin too. So yeah. Grant Morrison is crazy. So I cannot wait to read that. I know Devin and Mike aren't too big on the writers, but he's a writer that is good, but he's also like very, 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 very weird.
Yes.
Another one. Tom King, Batman writer Tom King had to hire bodyguards for San Diego Comic-Con thanks to death threats over the Batman
Tom
50
King can do no wrong.
wedding issue.
Ever.
So, of course, the Comic Gate people attack again. And they're mad at Tom King over being upset about the issue with Selena and Batman and Bruce supposedly getting married. Let me see. Once the controversy started, there was apparently no stopping it. Now we know that whether due to early reveal of the wedding's end, decision to call off the wedding itself, the twist of the ending, or all above, King received death threats over the story. We know this is not because of rumors, but because King himself just tweeted out a picture of himself with a new bodyguard from the Comic-Con floor. King, by the way, Tom King is a former CIA operative. And
yeah, that was the dumbest move people ever made. You think you can threaten that's like going and grabbing Liam Neeson from Taken, who also happens to be writing comic books.
Yes, exactly.
I have a certain set of skills. I'm not using them right now because I have other skills, but you get my point. I will find you.
Tom King is the Liam Neeson. He is the Liam Neeson of comic books, yes. Dan Slott famously got death threats of his own after he killed off Peter Parker 5 years ago. Now Slott is among the creators who have come to King's defense, shouting down spoiler culture. King will most likely be just fine. Keep writing for DC, but it's alarming and frustrating. Yeah, that's fucked up. Nerd fandom and comic fandom and game fandom is really
toxic and annoying.
It's
and
very toxic. And it's hard sometimes to want to be out there as a nerd and stuff like that. But this type of stuff is unfortunately not surprising. But I'm just glad everything went off okay. Shazam series is coming back, of course. You know, they want to tie into this movie stuff. Jeff Johns will be writing it, which is, I'm in. If Jeff Johns is writing Shazam. By the way, he took a lesser role with the DC movie universe, so he can focus more on getting these books out. Because what's the book called? What's the Watchmen shit called, Mike?
Oh, Doomsday Clock.
Doomsday Clock
fantastic.
Is all the way back on back order. It's way behind. So maybe he can get back.
Well, because you had the Murderverse on fire, and Jeff Johns is just trying to fix it, and everybody's like, "Well, we just need to Snyderize it a little bit more. Let's throw another battle axe in there. Let's murder some fools." No, just let them tell a story. No one wants to hear a story. Axes, that's what people need.
So I'm very interested in specifically Mike and Rich's opinion on this, but during Jeff Johns' Comic-Con panel, Johns shared a look at Fabok's first cover for the 3-issue miniseries on the Three Jokers. It's a grounded, emotional story about the mystery of Joker. We're focused on Bruce, Barbara, and Jason. John promises that while the book will be part of the Black Label imprint, it will still have elements that take place in the main DC Universe continuity. So they're basically doing a book on the Three Jokers that exist currently in continuity under the Black Label book, which is that's what you were telling me about earlier, Mike?
I didn't know that was under the Black Label book, but I was under the impression that the Black Label book was their darkest rated R content for mature readers.
Well, you know.
That's what I didn't see the three Joker. The three Joker thing has been going on since the New 52 and has not been explained yet. It was supposed to be explained at some point during Rebirth and has been hinted at a few times in Metal and in Doomsday Clock. But I didn't see these three. I mean, there's basically a part where it's the Mobius chair, or the Morbius chair, whatever it's called. Batman sits in it and asks one question, and he asks what the Joker's identity is, and to everyone's shock, he realizes there are three Jokers, and that's basically all we really know. I mean, there's hints at it, but I didn't know that was in Black Label. It kind of makes me a little more excited for Black Label because I just saw the promotional, they did a promotional video comic of it on Twitter, which looked cool. It just looked really violent and not for kids. So I'll be reading that book for sure.
Rich, are you interested in this story?
Yeah, very much so. I mean, I'm in the same boat when it comes to the three Jokers. I was kind of like, wait, what? But with the Black Label, I am more than in for it. I think that the big goal should be finding a fit that doesn't make this like how New 52 had to get rebooted. Because you can't keep retconning things and you can't keep giving people, well, yeah, this counts, but this doesn't count. I think that's, again, going back to a guy like Morrison, as crazy as he is, he'll take the strands of a franchise that don't fit and make them fit. And then you're like, oh, yeah, that makes sense now. So I'm hoping they do that with these three Jokers because I'm still behind. I've been reading the Tom King books by the trade paperbacks instead of issue to issue just to kind of keep my Maximum King. And so I didn't get why people were upset that Batman had a, girlfriend / fiance / future wife because it dug into that weird Gamergate-y, how come he has a woman and I don't type situation. With the three Jokers, it was more the traditional, that's not canon. And I can take not canon. So put it on Black Label. It kills all of that nerd rage.
I agree 100% with Rich. All right, so we'll get to the last comic book story, and then we'll kind of speed through the TV news because it's not as in-depth as the other stuff that we go through. But the Comic-Con, right around that time, they had the Eisner Awards. So most of you probably know, but for those who don't, the Eisner Awards are basically the comic book awards that they go through. So just to go through some of the notables, best short stories won A Life in Comics, the graphic adventure of Karen Green. That won that one. Best single issue or one shot, Hellboy by Mike Mignola. I haven't really gotten to Hellboy, but I hear it's good. So maybe I'll try that out. I like the Eisner Awards because I see some of the Image books or Dark Horse books or Boom books that win. And so that makes me want to go check them out because I'm always looking to find some non-Big Two books. Best continuing series, Monstrous from Image. I heard that's really good. Also on that list was The Wicked and Divine, which is great. Kieran Gilliam. It's amazing. I love it. It's so good. And Hawkeye, which is really good too. Best limited series, Black Panther, World of Wakanda won. I'm not going to knock it, but I didn't think it was this good, personally, but I enjoyed it. But X-Men Grand Design was on there, which is great, basically telling you about the history of X-Men. And then Mr. Miracle by Tom King is unbelievable. That was also nominated for that. And The Flintstones, which I heard was really good. Best new series.
Yeah, Travis has been reading that one. He loves it.
Yeah, I heard it was good. I heard it was really good. Best new series. Black Bolt won. Black Bolt's also being written by what's his name? Saladin Ahmed.
Black Bolt is amazing. I do love Black Bolt. I just want to chime in. I love Black Bolt.
Same.
Oh, you've been reading the book, Mike?
I switched comic book stores and they had me refill out my subscriptions and they were I noticed that they were all DC and I was like, I should probably change that. So I added a bunch of Marvel ones and I am catching up on them so that when they come out and I go pick them up, I'm caught up. So I have started to read the Inhumans, Black Bolt, Iron Man, even some of the newer stuff that I really wasn't. I tried Spider-Gwen. So I haven't made a huge dent in that yet because I only went just this past 2 weeks ago, and I was away this weekend. So this weekend I'm really going to be doing a lot of reading. But yeah, I love Black Bolt. He's, like Devin said, one of my favorite Marvel characters.
Best humor publication, Batman Elmer Fudd Special, #1. Written by Tom King. I might actually have to go read that. Batman Elmer Fudd.
I ordered that. It was hilarious. And Porky Pig's in it and everything too, and there's a lot of fun references. I recommend it. It's a good book. I actually had him. Mine is signed, but I didn't get him to sign it. I think I bought it signed, and I have an original version too. So if you want one, I'll just give you mine. But it's really good. I would get a hard copy. That was one of the ones that I would get a hard copy.
Best adaptation from another medium, Kindred by Octavia Butler. I've heard some people talk about that. I don't know too much about it though. What else is notable on here? Best writer was a tie between Marjorie Liu from Monsters. I keep hearing about Monsters, so I may have to check that out from Image Comics. And Tom King from Batman. Batman Annual #2, which was really good. Jeff Lemire's on here. He's a good writer doing Black Hammer. Mark Russell, The Flintstones. Flintstones must be really good because they got a lot of nominations. A lot. So I might have to check that out. Best writer / artist, Emil Ferris. My favorite thing is Monsters. Let's see here. Anything else that would be good? Best digital comic, Harvey Kurtzman's Marley Ghost. I don't know anything about that. So yeah, that's the notable things from the Eisner Awards. But I may check out Monstrous, and I love Wicked and Divine, so I like anytime I can see that book get some shine, I'm there. All right, we're gonna speed through these TV news because we're getting close up on it. I want to make sure everybody can get out at a decent time tonight. Swamp Thing is also another show coming to the DC Universe Network. That's going to be in a separate universe from Titans. Yeah, good job. After seeing that trailer,
awesome.
Yeah. Way to go. I don't particularly want Swamp Thing with those Titans.
Not at all.
Stargirl is coming to the DC streaming service as well. She's another character from way back. So she's going to be on the DC streaming service. And some non-real comic book news. Shonda Rhimes unveils a slate of 8 Netflix series. Good for her, securing that bag. She's got 8 shows coming out on Netflix. She left ABC. And she also has a show called Hot Chocolate Nutcracker, which sounds great. So I'll probably check some of those out. I'll support Shonda. She got me on Scandal. Even though the last few seasons were trash, I had to finish them out because I was so invested. This one's for Mike. Jeff Ward is up to a series regular on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Jeff Ward played Deke, so Deke will become a series regular in season 6. I think we all love Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. here, so that's good to go. Also, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. news. Clark Gregg is going to direct the premiere episode of season 6. So he did an episode last season too. I forget which episode he did last season. Oh, Fun and Games. Yeah, so he did Fun and Games last season. That was a good episode, yeah. Yeah, good. I like Clark Gregg, so I'm in for that. Okay, we'll spend a little bit of time on these and then we'll get out of here. And maybe I don't know if Rich, did you watch Buffy?
Rich is gone.
Oh, Rich left? He had to go?
Yeah.
I didn't know. All right. Devin, did you watch Buffy?
I saw a couple episodes, but yeah, I with the headline I saw, I was like, what? Okay.
So, Josh Whedon is rebooting Buffy.
Ooh, I got news that just came up on my feed. Well, if you don't mind.
Can you Rich is back. There we go. Can you not jump in?
I got kicked off or something.
Oh, no problem. Rich, did you watch Buffy?
I did.
Okay, so before I get to this, did you like Buffy? Is it something I should go back and watch?
No, don't do that to yourself.
I hear it was good.
Buffy was like problematic for me because I watched because Sarah Michelle Gellar looked like. Actually, I had a girl I dated in high school that looked like Sarah Michelle Gellar, so that was like a problematic timing of that show coming on. But like looking at it now, there's so many other shows you can watch that are better. Yeah. Like it was great. It's kind of like when 10 years from now people talk about the Evolution pay-per-view and it's like, yeah, that was all right, but you could watch this.
Yeah.
Because it was that first strong woman protagonist and you had all these different stories and was she the one, was she not the one? And then you bring in Mila
Angel.
Yeah, and then Angel, is he a demon? Is he a vampire? Did he give up his soul? Like it was a lot. It was a lot of teen angsty stuff mixed into a decent, like, okay, this woman is the chosen one against all of the dark forces in the universe.
You don't need to, Brandon.
Josh Wheden is rebooting Buffy with a black actress as the Slayer. Does that
watch that? Watch that. So he will look because he's going to learn from all his mistakes.
Yes, I was about to say. Has Josh Wheden learned? But yeah, a black actress. I'm in. I'm in. I hear Buffy.
I'm definitely gonna watch the first episode. Yeah, I got you with that.
And then the last thing before we get to Mike, whatever he's got to talk about is Supergirl season 4 will introduce trans superhero Dreamer, Agent Liberty, and Manchester Black. So season 4 will introduce a number of DC comic characters. It was announced at Comic-Con, including TV's first transgender superhero Dreamer, played by trans activist Nicole Maines. So yeah, this is a big deal. Dreamer, a.k.a. Nine Now, is the newest addition to the Catco reporting team per Warner Bros. TV release. Described as a soulful young transgender woman with a fierce drive to protect others, Nye's journey this season means fulfilling her destiny as a superhero Dreamer. What'd you say?
She sounds like she's black. That sounds real black.
Yeah, you can't say soulful.
Soulful. Yeah, not be black.
Let me see. No, she's not black.
What?
She's not black.
Are you sure she's not light skinned, Brandon?
I'm sure she's not light skinned. I'm looking at her right now. I'm looking at the actress now. She's not black.
I am taken off guard. That was a misleading description, then. Because you say soulful, I got to think she's black, or it has some toneness of blackness in her. But okay,
right.
But
like if you say, well, I'm expecting 50 Cent.
But Maisie has a little more intel on her character during the panel. Nia is a new reporter at Catco. She worked for the Cat Grant in Washington, D.C., and has been sent to National City to be taken under Kara's wing and taught the ways of reporting and superheroism. She is so wide-eyed. She's very happy to be there. She's so happy to be included. She has the ferocious drive to protect people and fight against discrimination and hatred. She's a superhero we need right now. It sounds like she won't be Legion of Superheroes character Neuro now, a.k.a. Dream Girl, despite the similarities in names. So here's the thing. Supergirl took on some real life stuff last year in the show. And if you watch the trailer for season 4, it absolutely goes there. Because it's all the narrator is basically like, we don't want you here. You come to our country and you cause trouble and get rid of jobs. Like the whole thing that Trump's doing with the people from South America and Central America and immigrants, they're basically using that aliens as an allegory for that and how some of the people are coming up against that. And so by bringing in a trans woman as a superhero is like a really big step. And that's dope as shit to me. Like that is really, really, really cool. CW gets a lot of credit for that because as much as you don't want to give someone credit for like doing something that should just be okay, like it shouldn't be any reason why you can't have trans people as heroes or characters on TV. The fact that they're doing that on a network television show that's going to come on in prime time, it is a big deal. I'm not going to pretend like that's not a big deal. That's a big deal.
Oh, that's kudos to them. Yeah.
Rich, did you hear about that, and what did you think when you heard that? Is Rich still here, or did he drop again?
I'm here.
I'm
here. It says poor connection, but for some reason it was going crazy.
Oh, no problem.
Yeah, I read about it. I hadn't seen the picture, so I naturally, there I go for assume she was going to be black. And I'm gonna support you in that, Brandon, because if they wanted to get the pat on the back WWE style, it would be a story arc.
Right.
But they're bringing a character into the Supergirl fold. So I think that's fantastic.
And they're not doing the Scarlett Johansson thing of hiring a woman, just a cisgender woman to play the character. They actually hired a trans activist, which is good to play that.
Well, I mean, the Scarlett Johansson role is just you name the role and she will show up inappropriately to play it. Hey, we need a Japanese man to play it. Here I am. Scarlett, no.
Anything. She will take any role.
Justin Shell, she can't live it down.
She tried to do Rub and Tug too, which is worse. Probably, I don't know if it's worse, but equally as bad.
She was in the Nelson Mandela biopic for a minute. I'm just messing.
All right, Mike, what did you have to say before we get out of here?
Just the two things popped up on my feed in the last 5 minutes that I think all of you will appreciate. I'll start with the least interesting first. Stephen Amell says he will be in jail in Arrow longer than fans expect. That's the first thing. The second thing is that Angela Bassett, while doing an interview for Mission Impossible, was asked if she survived the snap, and she said she survived, as well as her daughter Shuri.
Yeah,
Nice.
we saw Shuri. I could have we saw Shuri.
No, we didn't see her.
We didn't see Shuri?
They didn't show her.
Oh, okay.
A lot of people were wondering if she's alive. So I just thought that was interesting. It popped up on my feed at the last second. I wanted to share.
Okay, Angela. By the way,
Mission Impossible.
Angela
So, hey,
Bassett
Brandon.
looks amazing in Mission Impossible,
Yeah.
and she's like 62 years old. It's ridiculous.
Well, Angela is evidence in that movie of how badly Fox did not cast Storm correctly.
Yes, yes,
Oh wow.
absolutely.
Brandon, real quick, movie reviews. Are you doing Blind Spotters?
We are doing Blind Spotters. We're doing Mission Impossible. We're doing Teen Titans Go. I am
Mission
actually
Impossible this weekend.
Yes, Mission Impossible this weekend.
All right, I'm gonna see that. I'm gonna get on the. Mission
Rashani
Impossible
wants
movie.
me to see that Dark Web movie. He saw it.
Yeah.
He said it
I'm
was
not
good.
seeing it.
Okay.
I'm not seeing it.
I don't want to see it because Mike scared the hell out of me telling me about the Dark Web.
I read an article about that movie, and it was it has. I mean, I haven't seen it, so I don't know if it's good or not or whatever. I'm not going to see it because I have a bit of knowledge on that subject. And
The Dark Web is really scary.
The Dark Web is probably worse than whatever it is they're going to show on TV. We don't need to scare everybody right now, but I'm not going to see it. You guys can do it if you want. But that movie, I honestly don't. It actually kind of annoys me that they did that though, because now I feel like what's going to happen is people are going to be like, "Yo, we should go." It's probably not as bad as the real Dark Web, and people are going to be like, "Yo, let's go check this out." And then they're going to check it out, and then bad things are going to happen.
Oh, bad things are really going to happen.
I mean, you could get. I wouldn't need to talk about it. It's just a bad idea. I
Yeah,
don't want
Mike,
the Dark
I
Web.
appreciate you tiptoeing around the Dark Web.
Listen, the deep web should not be something that you should popularize into a movie. It's a bad idea. Just let it stay where it is.
That's what I said. When I saw this, I said, I don't want to see this.
Don't go see it.
I don't want to see this, but Rashani wants to review it. So I might
There's gonna be a lot of people who are like, "Yo, we should go on the deep web now and see what it's really like," and then it's gonna be worse than anything they've ever seen in a movie, and then they're gonna have to go to therapy.
Yes. And what I'm actually interested in, I guess I asked Rich this before we get out, but I want to see the not X-Men movie.
Dark Minds, yeah.
Oh yes,
Dark Minds. I don't know if it's going to be a good movie, but that trailer looks good. I can't lie. The trailer looks good.
I thought it was the New Mutants until it popped up.
I want to see it. Comes out next week.
August 3rd, yeah.
And I'll be there, so we'll be reviewing that too. But thank you guys for listening. Before we get out of here, Rich, tell everybody where they can find you at on Twitter, where they can find you at on your podcast and everything else.
Sure. If you find me on Twitter, it's at Rich_Fann, Fann. You can reach my show if you search Apple iTunes or Google Play, whatever of your choice. PWTorch Livecast, all one word. And you can reach the East Coast Cast by going PWTorch East Coast Cast on Facebook or East Coast Cast on Twitter.
Love the East Coast Cast. One day I've got to ask Travis to come on here because I love Travis. Been listening to him for years. But the show is so good. Rich also does stuff on what is Wade Keller's show called? The Wade Keller Pro Wrestling Podcast? That was called? Yeah. So he's on there sometimes, reviewing Raw and SmackDown. And you also do a VIP show. If you guys are really into wrestling, you go VIP. He does that oftentimes with doing New Japan stuff, right?
Yeah, I do that with Sean Radican and typically Alan Cunahan, who is a big Japanese wrestling fan who lives in Ireland, or Todd Martin, who's a big contributor to the Torch and also writes for Sherdog.
Yeah, I like Todd. We got into it on Twitter the other day, but I love Todd, so big fan of his. So definitely check out the PWTorch if you love wrestling. You just want to hear more about the inner workings of wrestling and hear commentary around wrestling. Check out the PWTorch. It's great. Wade is great. Bruce Mitchell is awesome. Rich obviously is there, is awesome. Travis, the whole crew there is great. I love that network. It's well worth the subscription that I've had for years. So definitely check that out. But Rich, thanks again for coming on. We really appreciate you having on today to talk about all this stuff. Thanks again, Devin and Mike. We will be back next week with another episode. Make sure you find us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, Spotify, anywhere you get your podcast at. Leave us a 5-star review. It helps us out a lot. Thank you guys for listening, and talk to you later.